taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.
We love the intro. Sharon's muted. So hi, everybody.
Am I muted? No, am I really muted?
You're good now.
Okay. So as you can tell, guys, Diana's not here tonight. It's just me and Jennie. So you're going to...
This is a special edition of the Isn't It Romantic Book Club special edition with Sharon and Jennie.
Yes. So just for those of you who are new, my name is Sharon Ray. I write romantic suspense, like think Dan Brown with really sexy green berets. My current book is Love's Last Kiss, and I have my newest romantic comedy in Mrs. Right. So much fun. But tonight we are streaming into Team Source Books, Jennie's Page Turners, Sharon's author page, Isn't It Romantic Book Club, and YouTube. So we're on the YouTube channel tonight, which is very exciting.
Yay!
Yay!
So we're so excited to be here. Like we said, this is our limited edition, special edition, special live stream tonight. We are featuring our fun anthology that Sharon and I are in, a limited edition anthology called Wedding Tails. And we've got special guest stars tonight. Yes. Look at this cover, you guys. Isn't it just amazing?
So hard to do this.
The Wedding Tails book is written by or brought to you by USA Today best-selling authors and award-winning authors, featuring characters from your favorite sourcebook series, which is such a great and fun idea for this. And what this series, Wedding Tails, proves that all you need is love and a dog. So without further ado, we're going to start bringing in all of the authors that we're so excited for you to meet. We've got Lucy Gilmore. We've got Mara Wells. Babette DeJong is joining us. Debbie Burns is joining us. And Terry Ann Stanley. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you for joining us tonight, guys. Yay. We're so excited to have you here.
We are so excited to have you. So for those of you that are listening, so sometimes we can see your name. So Amy, we can see you. Asma, we can see you. Thanks for joining us tonight. Sometimes we just see Facebook user, so we don't see your name. So sometimes it's nice if you actually say your name. And I am just so curious where someone is beaming in from that it says, "Good morning, gorgeous ladies." So who is it morning? Like, where are you beaming in from that is morning where you are? Because it is afternoon here. So,
and hi, Barbara.
Hi, Barbara. So what we're going to do tonight, and also we really want you guys to comment. We want anybody that's watching to ask questions, to give us comments, and then we're going to use those comments and questions to pick some winners to be able to get a copy of the anthology. Isn't that exciting? Oh my gosh, Australia. It's Marsha is coming to us from Perth, Australia. Oh my gosh, wow, that's awesome.
And Ozma, just so you know, before we start, yes, all of these anthologies, this anthology is a collection of novellas of primary and secondary characters from your favorite sourcebook series. So that's the whole point of the anthology.
Isn't that fun? Isn't that such a fun idea? So we're all going to introduce ourselves. We're going to take a minute and share a little bit about what we write, and our newest book if we want to. So Sharon already talked about what she writes. I'm so excited. Isn't that cover, that Mrs. Right cover, just so adorable?
Oh, it's so adorable.
It's so adorable. So I am Jennie Martz. I write small town stories with humor and heart, and occasionally a dead body. So I write Western romance. I write cozy mysteries. I write romantic comedies. I write hockey players and cowboys. And my newest book that comes out, this is always such a joy. Wait till you guys try to do this. Every Bit of Cowboy, which isn't this cover just the most stunning? Oh my gosh. And look at, there's a little bit of man chest in there. Yeah, there is.
I think it's my favorite Credence cover.
Oh, this is just,
I say that every time though.
You do say it every time. I love this cover, and this book comes out March 7th. So super excited about this. So without further ado, oh my gosh, and the sun is shining in, and I brought my dog with me just, as part of the thing, but the sun is shining in, so I may change my position while the girls are introducing themselves. So without further ado, I would love to introduce you to Lucy Gilmore. Take it away.
Hi, I'm Lucy Gilmore. I write romantic comedies, and I'm kind of switching over into uplit lit fiction. For source books, all my books are very dog and puppy oriented, which is super fun. And coming up, my next book is something, that is hard. The Lonely Hearts Book Club, which is my first book without dogs in it. So it's libraries and books and all things reading instead, which I feel like is also important for all of our interests here today.
And a curmudgeony old man, which I love books with a curmudgeony old man. I'm so excited for this one.
I'm a grouchy old man in my soul, so it's really
perfect. Debbie.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Debbie Burns. Excited to be here. I write with source books as well, the Rescue Me series. I have coming out with my 7th book in the series. I have one here. Let's see if did I do it right? Yeah. Okay. This is the one. This is my 3rd one in the series, but it's also the one that is that my anthology story is based on. So 7th in the series comes out in May. I don't have it in physical form yet, but I'm excited to get it soon. I've also written one women's fiction with source books. It was a lot of fun, and I also hope to do a little more of that. That also had a dog in it, but not quite as heavily as this shelter-centered Rescue Me series that is very dog-friendly.
Awesome. Mara.
Hi, I'm Mara Wells. I'm the author of the Fur Haven Dog Park series. And I brought a cover. The 3rd book in the series is Pause for Love. This is actually my favorite cover of the series. And the novella that's in Wedding Tails takes place about 6 months after Pause for Love. All the books in the Fur Haven Dog Park series are centered around a dog park in South Beach, Florida. All right, Babette.
Okay, hey. So I'm Babette DeYoung, and I am a telepathic animal communicator. So all of my romance novels are written not only from the point of view of the hero and the heroine, but also the animal whose lives they impact. So my novella is based off of the characters in the first book in the series, Warm Nights in Magnolia Bay. I don't know if you can see it. Everything's bad.
It's harder than you think.
Everything
Okay. That cover is so pretty. I think that cover is so pretty, Babette.
I love the cover, and if I could get you to see that dog right there, that's my dog Georgia on the front. I mean, it's not really her, but it's supposed to look like her. So,
awesome.
Yeah, Georgia is the star of the show in all of the books in the series. The 3rd one's coming out in the summer, and if the dog starts barking, I'm going to mute myself. and maybe disappear and go let her outside. So
okay. All right, Terry Ann.
All righty, I'm Terry Ann Stanley. I write romantic comedy. I've got one romantic suspense out there, which is kind of romantic comedy suspense, and cowboys. My anthology story is a side character he's been in all of the Big Chance books. This is the first one in the series, Big Chance Cowboy. And so there's a character that was just briefly mentioned in the first book, and she becomes the heroine of the story. And what else am I supposed to say? I don't know.
Just a little bit about you.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yep,
I'm a science geek by day, and I live in nowhere, Kentucky. And my husband just got the lawnmower out to start it up to practice for spring right outside my window. So I'm going to mute myself until that's it.
Well, we are expecting like a huge honking snowstorm in Colorado. We're getting an Albuquerque low. So we're expecting 10 inches tomorrow. So anyway, well, thank you, ladies, all for joining us. This is so great that you could all be here. Oh my gosh, my sister is on there. She just said, hey, sis.
Oh,
hi, sis.
is that your sister?
Kate is my sister. So that's fun. So let's see. So what we're going to talk about next is we want to have everybody introduce the tell what their story is about. So basically our premise is what happens when. So everybody's story is what happens when everyone has a wedding in their novella and everyone has a dog in the novella. So we're going to introduce the dogs next. So we're not necessarily introducing the dogs right now. But right now we want to know what happens when. Tell us a little bit about your story and what series it came from. So
Okay.
Sharon, why don't you go first?
And Barbara asked a quick question. She wanted to know if we need to read any of the other books in the series for the anthology. No, the point of the anthology was to take a character from the worlds that we love to write in. And hopefully once you read our stories, if you've not read the series, you'll be interested enough to go back and read the series from which they come. So, but you do not have to know anything about any of our series in order to enjoy the anthology. Speaking of which, so my anthology is What Happens When. I can't remember this. I have to read it. Star-crossed lovers can't find the flower girl and her ring-bearer dog who've disappeared on a remote Georgia sea island hours before their long-awaited wedding. So my story is called Searching for Ever After. It is the wedding of Allison and Zach, who end up getting engaged at the end of In Search of Truth. So for any of you who've read this book, at the very end, they get engaged and they're planning a wedding months down the line. And the anthology, the story Searching for Ever After actually takes place a week later. So for those of you who've read the book, you'll enjoy the wedding. For those of you who haven't, it's not a problem. You'll be able to catch up really quickly. So, Jennie?
I was searching for the cover of the book that the story of this comes in. So I just realized I should have brought that book in here with me. So my story is called Save the Date for a Cowboy. So of course my book has a cowboy in it. So mine is what happens when a reluctant cowboy agrees to get set up at a wedding and then he and his dog fall for the wrong bridesmaid. So a little mistaken identity. And this story, this comes out of the Creedence Horse Rescue series. There's getting a little tail wag just as part of the perfect. Thanks, Cooper. And this novella comes out of When a Cowboy Loves a Woman. So for those of you that have read When a Cowboy Loves a Woman, it's Brody and Elle's story. Brody's a veterinarian. Elle is just a woman in the town, and they are both widowed. And it's several years later after they both lost their husband and wife, and it's just a second chance for these widows to find love again, and it's really precious. But you don't have to have read the book. Of course, once you read their wedding, you're going to want to go back and read how they got together. But my story does have Seamus the mini horse as the ring bearer. So for anybody that has read any of my series, you're going to find Seamus as the ring bearer. And anyway, yep, that's what and then my story is also a kickoff to a brand new series called Lassiter Ranch. So Lucy.
Okay. So my story is called The Very Best Man. And it is what happens when the only person who can help the best man train the world's laziest dog to walk down the aisle is the girl who got away and the girl he'd do anything to win back. And it is a follow-up to I Hate You More, which is a standalone rom-com. And in it, this guy right here, he's a veterinarian and a show dog judge, and she's a beauty pageant queen trying to train like the worst dog in the world to be in to win his show. And he has a twin brother, and in the book they have like a house that's divided with duct tape, and they can't cross over the line because they're like feuding twins. And so this is the story of the twins. So Spencer, the veterinarian, is getting married and his twin brother is finding love. But it's really fun because they have kind of an adversarial relationship, because I have brothers and we have adversarial relationships. So we don't have duct tape, but we could have.
Well, I shared a room with my sister when I was growing up, the one that's actually watching, and there was probably plenty of times she wanted to put duct tape in the middle of the room because she was neater and I was messier. Debbie?
Awesome. Mine, I don't have angry siblings in mine, but I will tell you, I will read mine as well because I have not memorized it. What happens when a negative post about a Major League Baseball player's relationship with his publicity-shy girl of his dreams goes viral? Can he still convince her to walk down the aisle? And like I said, it's also standalone and it's tied to the series. There's several characters from the series that I know people wanted to follow up on. But the one request, if I've ever gotten a request for an epilogue, it was most of them have come for this series or for this the third one in the series, My Forever Home, with Tess and Mason. Mason's a baseball player. Tess works at the shelter, and there's a stray husky that I actually told some of the first story from his point of view. He plays a big part in the book, and so that's what mine is based on, and it's their happily ever after follow up. But you can also read it as a standalone for certain. And if you can hear my really loud dog, who brought a bone,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
To the
and
floor.
like somebody's got a bone. Yeah.
We were wondering what the.
At first, I was like, "What is that sound?" I was like, "Oh, somebody's dog has the
She
bone.
did it right as
Somebody has wood floors." Yeah.
muted. So I'm gonna mute and take it away from her.
It's
All right.
perfect that we're having dog-related antics during our dog-related tales.
She knows, definitely. She knows.
All right, Mara.
All right. The title of my story is Forever Yours, FUR. And the what happens when a dog-loving wedding planner must enlist the aid of a sworn against pets groomsman to save their friend's wedding. And this story features Sydney, who has been, in my mind, the fairy godmother of the series. So she shows up in book one. She's kind of best friends with Riley from book one, and she's a stylist. And so in all three books, when somebody needs a new outfit for a special night, when somebody needs to have their hair trimmed, like she's there helping them out all the way through the series. And I felt like she really deserves her own book. She's a social media guru. She helps Danielle in Pause for Love get her animal rescue up online. When Riley and Caleb in book one build a dog park, Sydney's the one who has the idea that they could run events up there to make money. And so she's just been such a help to everybody. She's everyone's best friend. And I thought she deserves a book. And then we also have Adam, who's in all three books as well. And in book two, he actually is a little bit in love with Carrie, my main character, but it doesn't work out. But he's such a good guy. And I was like, I want him to have a book too. And so Forever Yours is about how Sydney and Adam kind of go from friends to lovers is the trope, because they're thrown together all the time. All their best friends have been hooking up through the whole series. You know, at the beginning of the series, everybody's single. By the end, they're the only two singles left. So do they get together by default, or is it real love? It's kind of the question of the story. And hint, it's real love. So I wrote it. I wrote it so that people who've read the series will get to revisit, you know, some of the fun characters of the series. But if you've never read the series, it should stand alone.
Sounds wonderful, Mara. I can't wait to read it. Babette?
I got to read it, and it was really good. So mine is the novella's title is Wedding Bells in Magnolia Bay, and what happens when a sworn bachelor gives his heart to a pretty girl he meets on the way to a wedding, then falls for the woman of his dreams at the reception. And of course, the pretty girl is a stray dog. So so to tell you, and I'm going to read, y'all, because I can write, but I cannot speak. So my novella is about a stray dog, a random guitar player, an old lady, and the old lady's niece, who is doing her first gig as a wedding coordinator. The old lady is Edna Fitzgerald from book one, Warm Nights in Magnolia Bay, which there it is. And so Edna is taking, and now I'm actually going to speak. Edna is in charge of bringing the linens, the rented linens, to Abby and Quinn's wedding. And she gets caught up in a pileup on I-10. And so and then this stray dog comes streaking down the road because the stray dog fell out of its family's truck, but the family kept going. So yeah, it's about how Edna hijacks a guitar player and a stray dog, and together they kind of save the day for Abby and Quinn's wedding.
I love that.
I love that too. And I got to read it.
Well, and it was so fun to write. I did not think that I could make a point in less than 100,000 words. And it turned out actually that it kind of turned out that I couldn't, because I started writing what I thought was going to be the novella, and 30,000 words in, I realized, this is an entire novel, and it's going to have to be book 5 in the series. So I had to quit and start over. But I love it, and I did learn how to make a point in less than 100,000 words. And you don't have to know any of the other books to read this one. The hero and the heroine are brand new characters. The Edna Fitzgerald is kind of one of the backbone characters of the series. And Georgia, the dog, is in the wedding, as well as Wolf, the dog from the first book.
I can tell you, guys,
right.
I read it. It's great.
All right, Terry Ann.
Hey, so my novella is called Rescuing the Groomsman, and let's see if I can find the thing. I just had it pulled up, and then what happens when a cowboy finds out the woman he's always dreamed of wants him and his dog, but he knows he's the last thing in the world she needs. So this novella is set during the wedding of the couple from the first book in the series. When I started the series, there were 3 guys. They're Army veteran dog training cowboys, as one does. And so these 3 guys had come together. They served together, and they've come back together. One of them has PTSD. One of them has some physical issues. And Jake, the third one, had a brain injury. So he was supposed to be the 3rd guy in the series, but for reasons beyond my control, he wasn't. We went with someone else. So I had to make sure Jake got his story. And he's a little bit of a hermit, just because he's got some self-esteem issues because of his deficits from his brain injury. And but he's always had a crush on Charlie Chance, and it turns out she likes him too. So it's set at the wedding of, I said that already, Adam and Lizzie from the first book. And it's fun, and you'll get to meet some of the other characters that came up in the other books, but certainly you can start with this, and then you will, of course, want to go back and read all 3 of the others. That's it.
So we actually had a quick question that kind of ties in, which is, which book in the anthology would you recommend reading first? Just curious. And first thing I want to say is it's a wonderful anthology because it's a wide range of romance genres. There's romantic, there's a suspense story in there. There's cowboys, there's small towns, there's rescue, everything. So it really doesn't matter which one you read first. Each one is completely standalone within the series, but then standalone within the collected anthology. So it just, whatever you feel like in the mood for. Do you want a little bit of suspense? Do you want some laugh out loud, Jennie magic? Whatever you want. So. And nice. Teresa even mentioned something. She said another Credence wedding. Teresa, I read The Wedding. It's wonderful. You're going to love it. So Jennie, what are we moving on to next? The animals?
Yeah. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce you to the dogs of Wedding Tails. So they're the real stars of the show. And if you see the side cover of the anthology, we have a picture of every dog that's in each story. And it's really a cute way to introduce you to that. So we're just going to go around now and we're going to introduce you to the dog that's in the story. And if you want to share a little something about a role they play or just what makes them so lovable or why readers love them or whatever you want to share about the dogs. So Sharon, you want to tell us first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So my dog is a dog named Nicholas Trot. He first shows up in Search of Truth. He's a rescue. He's a shepherd sheepdog. He's a white shepherd sheepdog. So, and he's very spoiled because he was rescued. And the heroine Allison has completely spoiled him. So he sleeps on her bed, you know, all the good, wonderful things. Anyway, he's also very protective. And in the wedding, he plays an important role. He's the ring bearer dog. And he and the flower girl end up getting separated. For those of you who read the series, you know, a lot of it takes place on a fictional island called the Ice off the coast of Savannah. And it's kind of a wilderness. And so she and the dog, Nicholas Trot, end up disappearing. And he has to protect her through her night of she's only 8. It's very stressful. Everyone's looking for them. And he ends up protecting her in multiple different ways that will surprise even me. And for those of you who read the series, you know that I love history. And Nicholas Trot is named after the first Chief Justice of South Carolina from 1703, who is also has the distinction. My heroine is an anthropologist, has the distinction of being the person who ended witchcraft trials in the United States after the Salem trials in 1692. So she names the dog after Nicholas Trump. So it's kind of a mouthful.
Of course, we all knew that. We all knew that.
Oh, of course we did.
All knew that. Sure. Yeah.
So anyway, Jennie.
Okay, so I'm introducing 2 brand new dog characters into this story. So for those of you that read the horse rescue books, obviously it's about a ranch where they rescue horses, but there is a million other animals that actually get rescued there. They rescue a tortoise. They, in Never Enough Cowboy, they rescue 8 pygmy goats. So I did, like I said, I have Seamus in this book. So Seamus came over. He's the grumpy mini horse. Oh, and here goes Cooper. Cooper, are you leaving? I was just going to introduce you because the whatever dog in the book is basically Cooper. So I have 2 characters and he just realized, you know, I think it's time to eat. And that's what's happening there is he just realized that's what time it is to eat. So my book opens up with Ford Lassiter. So Ford Lassiter is, like I said, a new character, the Lassiter Ranch, and essentially Ford and his brothers, Ford, Chevy, and Dodge. These are the 3 brothers' names, and they are named after their mom named them after the man that walked out on them and what the truck was that he drove away from the ranch. So they're named after their deadbeat dad's pickup truck. And that's what these 3 brothers are. So this story is kind of leading off into this new 3-book series of Lassiter Ranch. But so Ford, the story starts out with Ford. He's running late and he's been asked to fill in as the groomsman. So one of the groomsmen in the wedding, there's 7 groomsmen, 7 bridesmaids, and one of them got appendicitis or something. And they, you know, Ford is the one that can fit in the tux and he's available. So he gets asked to fill in at the wedding. And Brody, which we talked about, this is Brody and Elle's wedding. Brody sets him up. He says, I know I'm already asking you to do a favor, but I want to also set you up with my cousin, Elizabeth. And so Brody shows up and he's got his dog in his truck because, of course, as if anyone knows anything about golden retrievers, they just eat everything in sight. And so his golden retriever, and I have a little picture of his golden retriever, Dixie, she has eaten half a rotisserie chicken that she dragged out of the trash and a chocolate cake that she pulled off the counter or something. So she's not feeling good. So he brings her, and as the book opens, he's sitting outside the church, you know, waiting to go in, procrastinating going in. And this woman comes out and she's got this pink tote bag over her shoulder. And she goes to the park next to the church and she sits down and she starts talking to this tote bag, and she's got a dinner roll in her hand and she's pulling off pieces of this dinner roll and dropping them in the bag and just having a whole conversation with this tote bag. And he can't figure out what the heck's going on. And of course, Dixie gets loose and goes over and you know, they get introduced and there's a big chance that they might fall in love with each other, but I don't want to ruin anything if you didn't know that might happen. But I have to introduce you to Thor because this is Elizabeth's dog, Thor. Isn't this the cutest dog you've ever seen? It's called a Havanese, and they're very, I guess they're not very common, but anyway, Elizabeth's dog is named Thor, and Elizabeth really, I'm talking too long, sorry guys. Elizabeth she really goes by Bitsy. So she's not a Bitsy person. She's tall and curvy, and she got this name when she was young because her parents tried to call her Betsy and her little brother couldn't pronounce it. And so she's gone by Bitsy her whole life, and she just hates being Bitsy. And so she grabs her cousin's name tag, her cousin Liz, that's name tag is Elizabeth, and she takes the wrong name tag. And so he thinks that he's with the one that he's set up with instead of the fashion model Liz that's there. So it's really kind of a fun mistaken identity. And there you go. Lucy?
So the dog in my book, and I Hate You More, the dog like stole the show. Like if you read reviews, people like whatever book, love, romance, the dog. Everybody loves Wheezy because Wheezy it's kind of this picture there. He's ridiculously fat, lazy golden retriever who, like Jennie says, eats everything that he can get his hands on. So he's in the I Hate You More, the heroine has to train Wheezy to be a show dog, but of course he won't be trained because he will do nothing that he's supposed to. So the whole book is just him thwarting her every move. He sits when he's supposed to run. He won't be trained. He steals food. At one point, he like eats all the pot brownies that these old ladies are trying to have. And so I had to bring him back for the sequel because Wheezy has been such a beloved character. So in this one, Caleb is trying to train him to walk down the aisle. And of course, it's not going to work because Wheezy does not do anything except what Wheezy wants to do. And I love him. And he's really fat. Nobody knows what to do with him. And he just takes naps all day.
That sounds so awesome. Yes. And I have to comment to Amy who said her aunt has a Havanese and that they're loyal and friendly. So that's so awesome. Okay, Debbie, tell us about your dog.
I'll just say that I read Lucy's and he's such a funny dog. So I really loved it. So as I said before, John Ronald, and if you want to know how he got his name, the dog in my story is a husky. His name is John Ronald, who gets his name in the first story in the original book. He's a stray, a free roaming stray in the city. Mason, the baseball player, lives in a converted warehouse downtown, not that far from the stadium. And he keeps spotting the stray and he wants to catch him, but the stray has been abused and just won't have anything to do with him. And he leaves food out for him. And he doesn't think that the dog wants interaction. And so he comes up with a name after J.R.R. Tolkien, and not all who wander are lost. And so he calls him John Ronald. And that's where he got his name. And so eventually, spoiler alert, he gets the dog in the story. And he and Tess get together. Tess is the dog trainer, and she helps him capture him because she wants John Ronald to be captured. So that's how they get together. Spoiler alert for the first book if you haven't read it. And so he's the one who has a big part in the story that I wrote, which is called Two Weddings and a Husky. And so it starts at a wedding, but then there's another wedding in it, which you can probably guess whose it is because they've been together. So, and he has a decent part in that. And he has, in this one, he's very bonded with Mason now that he's been with him for a long time, and he has separation anxiety pretty bad. So that's John Ronald.
Nice.
And I will say also, I did say that before, but he was the first dog whose point of view I ever wrote. I didn't know how to tell his story without doing a point of view, and readers did like it.
I love that. I love points of view from animals.
So Debbie, I read everybody's story just as a background. I think it was yours where you talked about how when the dog first gets up in the morning, she doesn't feed him right away so that he doesn't get used to thinking he gets food first thing in the morning. Was that you? Was that your book?
No, that was mentioned in there at some point.
That has absolutely transformed my life. I've started doing that with my dog. Usually get up every morning thinking that it's time to eat, and now I'm like, no, we're going to do some other tasks first. It has blown my mind. Everyone, best dog trip ever. Like, ever.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Mara?
So, Mara, before we
Okay.
start, Donna did ask a question about, is this anthology already out? And it comes out tomorrow. So you can get it.
We can put a link in the comments, can't we, though, so they can all order it today.
Yes, you can
Get it in their
certainly
inbox.
order it. And you might, if you order it today, I think it shows up in your Kindle at like midnight
I
or
think it
10
does.
o'clock or something. So,
And it's also going to be available in paperback.
Yep.
I had a number of people ask me that. So when we're done, when the live stream is done, Jennie and I will go in and we'll put some links in the comments for you all.
Okay,
right.
Mara, tell us about your dog.
So the star dog of Forever Yours is Chewy the Chihuahua. And you can see here the inspiration dog. And Chewy is such a sweet and loving little guy. And like lots of small dogs, he doesn't think that he's a small dog. So they go to the dog park every day. Sydney hangs out with her friends there. They in the morning and the evening, everybody goes to the dog park. And Chewy plays with the big dogs, the full-size greyhounds who are running loops, and he tries to keep up with them. And his best friend is Lady, the black lab that is sort of queen of the dog park. And so he's always running like as fast as his little tiny legs can carry him all the time. And Sydney is a stylist, and so she makes him a lot of bespoke outfits. So he is very couture. And Sydney, it was trying to build up her styling business, and she found that when she posted pictures of her dog in little outfits that she had made, her social media like shot through the roof. And so Chewy has his own Instagram account. He's very popular there, and so he's very camera aware. He loves to be the center of attention. He loves being the center of her life. She has special carriers for him. She always has him with her all the time. So they are very bonded, Sydney and Chewy. And I will say Chewy is kind of loosely, pretty closely based on the two Chihuahuas that I've had in the past couple of years. So lots of fun playing, Frankenstein's monster with dogs I've already had, like a little bit of Sheba and a little bit of Sancho. So he's very, very cute. That's what I can say about Chewy. He's adorable. Okay,
Nice.
Babette.
So usually the dog in my novels is always a dog that I've known. So each of my dogs, and I've had a few as an animal communicator, it's kind of unavoidable. Each of my dogs has had a turn, almost. And it was either Fred's turn or Pearl's turn to be the dog in the novella. And I was looking to see if I could find a picture that would remind me of either one of those dogs. Before I even started, I wanted to, have that image in my mind. And the dog that snagged my heart when I was just looking through, stock photos was an Aussie mix. And her heart was in her eyes, and she just looked so precious and just sweet through and through. And so all of my dogs got kicked to the curb, and I picked this dog who I've never met, don't know, but I just fell in love with her picture. And so in the beginning of the novella, there's this big pile up on I-10, and she is tied by a rope in the back of her family's pickup truck, and they swerve to avoid the very beginning of the accident, and she flies out of the truck and rolls down the embankment. The rope snaps, and by the time she gets back up the hill, they're gone. So and in the beginning of the story, she thinks that her name is Damn Dog, and she thinks that, and a lot of the scenes are written from her point of view. So, she feels that at first she's really afraid, and Edna and Mike, the random guitarist, managed to catch her. and they have no choice but to take her with them because Mike has to give Edna a ride to Abby and Quinn's wedding. And so the heroine, when Maggie first sees Mike, she thinks, well, he's cute, but he kind of smells like a dog. So, yeah, so Damn Dog gets a name, an actual name by the end. And a lot of it is about her character arc as well, about her learning what it's like to really be loved and to really be part of a family, because she thinks she has a family before, but by the end of the story, she realizes that really wasn't her family. So in all of my novels, the animal gets a happy ever after too. And so this is about Damn Dog's happy ever after.
Nice.
I love that.
All
Terry
right.
Ann?
Well, so I just had a picture pulled up here. This is, oh, we can't see that though, can we? This is there he is.
Cute.
Frank's the chocolate lab, and he was the hardest character in the book to write because I kept changing his name. So when you read my story and it says, you know, Fred, Frank, whatever, I can't even remember all the names he had. But he's a diabetic chocolate lab. He's rescued and living at the Big Chance Dog Rescue Ranch, where their primary objective is to train service animals. And there's just no way Frank can make it as a service animal. So they have other dogs that don't make the cut that get adopted out. But Jake is a little attached to Frank. The heroine, whose name I just completely forgot. Anybody? Charlie, thank you. Yeah, Lucy. I mean, it was there earlier. Charlie, Frank is a bit in love with Charlie. And she's in love with Frank too, as well as Jake. And so she decides she's going to adopt Frank. And Jake is a little reluctant to let go of the reins there. And as a little trivia, when I started writing this series, I was laughing about training my characters training service dogs because Sit is really good at our house. We're like, yay, somebody sat. Not everybody does of our dogs. So we had a chocolate lab named Stella at the time, and she was actually a very good dog. And I put her through the paces of becoming a certified therapy pet. So we joined this organization and went to nursing homes, and we went to the VA and visited veterans. But she died just before the first book came out. So the dedication in that is to Stella, who was the best brown dog ever. But I think Frank's probably a close second. And that's all I have to say about that.
That is awesome. So while you guys were talking, I had this idea that I think, so readers always love getting to know authors more. And I had this idea that I thought it would be fun for everybody real quick to say who their dog is right now. I mean, so many of our dogs, Debbie's made an appearance with the bone that it was dragging around. Usually Mara has her sitting on her lap. Cooper was here too. So I thought it would be fun if everyone really quickly says the name of their dog and then how many times you've used your dog's name in any of your books, or if your own dog that you have right now has shown up in your books. So my dog is Cooper. He's a golden retriever. I have had a Coopersville, the name of the town. I have had a Cooper dog. I have had a last name be Cooper. So, and I've had several golden retrievers that show up in my books. And then my other dog, because I do have two, but Maggie's being a little, so Maggie is a Sheltie. These are my two dogs that my husband likes to have them wear clothes. And so Maggie is a Shetland sheepdog. So she's a little collie. And I have a Maggie character. I have a Maggie dog. have a, and my last dog that died was Bailey, and she was the cutest little, grossest, ugly dog that we rescued. She had a really good personality though. And so my new story, my new cozy mystery that comes out this summer, the main character is Bailey Briggs, and she is named after, and I have so many scruffy brown dogs that are like my Bailey dog. So anyway, Sharon, how about you? Who's your dog right now, and how many times have you used him in a book?
So we had Donut, and that's not an easy name to use in a book. Like, you can't. He was an Australian cattle dog rescue. Wonderful, wonderful dog. So I never used his name. And now we recently have Penny, my son's rescue dog. And as many of the other authors here know, and some of my readers know, that my son's going off to vet school in the fall. So, which means I'm actually going to be keeping Penny because of vet school, because it's really hard to take care of a dog while you're there. So I'm sure Penny will show up in something. I don't really know what she is. She's part lab and part like a mix of lots of other things, but she's the color of her copper penny. So,
oh, and doesn't Donut just have one eye?
Donut, yes, Donut had one eye, yeah, and then, well, he had both, and then he lost one, and he started losing the other, and then, cancer just got the rest of them. So, but he was a great dog.
Donut.
I know. Well, it was either Donut or Dobby. The kids named him, and they really struggled with that one.
All right, Lucy, tell us about your dog.
I have two dogs. I have two Akita mixes. So they're like big outdoor mountainy dogs. They're named Duke and Monty. And Monty is actually, Duke was named by my kid. Monty, I have a book from like 2013 called the Montgomery Manor series about like this rich family who then their all last names are Montgomery. And the oldest son was called Monty Montgomery. And I love that name, and I wanted to use it like for every character in every book I ever wrote, but I thought that would be kind of silly. So I was like, I'll just name my dog that instead. So he is named after one of my favorite romance hero names.
So the book came first, and then the dog got named after the book. Oh,
just
that's awesome.
waiting for my opportunity to use it. So
that is awesome.
That's awesome. I love it. I have two dogs. They're getting older. I'm going to try to show a picture. Hazel and Nala. Almost 13, and Nala's almost 7. And I think I've used Nala's obnoxious personality a couple times, but never the name. Who I have definitely put in 2 books now is this really obnoxious cat who's a Maine Coon, and he's just a crazy cat. He has ended up he was born in a barn, and I have not been able to keep him in, and he goes over to the neighbors all the time for play dates, and she's an artist. He's ended up in an art show. Her grandkids push him around in a stroller. He's ended up in a lot of houses. I went over to a neighbor's house, and he was sleeping there when we went over for a book club. And he's very unusual. He's very obnoxious and very unusual. The most obnoxious cat I've ever had. So I've put him in a couple books. It doesn't seem believable, but he is. So.
And
okay, I have 2 dogs right now. I have a little poodle mix named Houdini Beauregard. He's a little gentleman, and he appears in the first. Well, Lulu makes an appearance in all the books, I think, but is the main dog of book 1, Cold Nose Warm Heart. Except I changed his gender, and I lightened his coat a little bit to a more strawberry color. He's more grayish, and then I gave him a little bit of Sheba, my Chihuahua's personality, because she was very licky. Houdini doesn't lick at all, ever. We can barely get him to drink water because you have to lick it. So I've got Houdini, and then I had Sheba when I was writing the series. Sheba passed away sadly last August, and now we have a different Chihuahua named Sancho. We adopted him as a senior. He's 9 years old, and he's very bonded to my husband. And so as I was writing Wedding Tails is when we got Sancho, and so a little bit of Sancho crept into, Chewy started out being based on Sheba, but then Sancho kind of crept into the characterization. Babette?
Okay, so so Georgia is a cattle dog mix, and this is how this happens, y'all. She was my daughter's dog. So youngest daughter went to college, got this dog, couldn't potty train her, and was like, Mom, you need to talk to this dog and tell her what to do, because she's peeing in the house. And so I talked to Georgia, and she said, well, I have a bladder the size of a walnut and I cannot hold it, and Natalie sleeps till noon. And so I said, okay, just bring her to me, I'll potty train her. So Natalie brought Georgia home. She never had an accident in the house. And, all she needed was to be let out. So we all learned a lesson about that one. And now Georgia is my dog, and she is the star of book 1, Warm Nights in Magnolia Bay. And she's in every book. So she's kind of like one of the backbone characters. And then we have Jed is, Lord, I don't even remember the dog in book 2. I'm sorry. No. Okay, I don't remember the dog in book 2, but Jed is the dog in book 3 of the series, which is coming out this summer. And he is he's kind of like, he looks like a lab mastiff mix. He's got a little bit of Great Dane. We did a DNA on him, and he was 1% Great Dane and 1% Chihuahua, but he kind of looks like a mastiff, and he's black and scary looking. So that kind of his arc in book 3 is just about, not about being judged by appearance, but not by what he is inside. And so Fred was my other daughter's dog, and now he's mine. And he's a Basset Hound Blue Tick mix. And Pearl, so see, I have all these dogs. I told God that, because I picked up Jed on the side of the road, and the other 2, were dumped by my kids. And so I told God that if I was supposed to have another dog, it better show up right in front of me at my house. So Pearl showed up under our house the day, like a couple of days after New Year's. She weighed 2 pounds. She was 4 weeks old. It had been freezing cold. She was full of fleas and ticks. So she's our dog now too. And she is like the most horrible dog on the planet, but we love her. She's very sweet. She's really sweet. And, I think, Mara, you were talking about your dogs liking to lick. So Georgia and Pearl both do. And I think maybe little dogs have a licker problem, because our big dogs don't, but our little dogs do.
So funny about that. And Terry, can you give us a quick? We're going to pull you all out at 7:25. So if you can give us, and then and end the broadcast.
Yeah,
and go through.
Absolutely. Come here, buddy. Sorry, I've been up and down out of my seat here. Come here, Homer. Come here. Oh, well. Anyway, hey, buddy. Homer.
Oh,
look at here. There you are.
What a
boy. That's Homer. He's a black lab Great Dane mix. So he's a bit of a big dog. And he actually is I totally modeled D-Day in the first Big Chance story out after Homer. He's just kind of a lot of stubborn silliness. But we also have, my daughter has 2 dogs. We've got a coonhound and a little shepherd mix living with us. And my boys each have dogs. So it can get a little crazy here around the holidays. They all come over to visit. Anyway, that's all.
Well, thank you all for coming tonight. I know it's a lot. 7 is a lot on a live stream. But we're just so happy that you're able to make it tonight. And I'm going to pop you guys out for a little bit. And Jennie and I are going to actually talk about our Facebook party coming up on Wednesday.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Nice to meet everybody. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
There they go. There they go.
There's no graceful way to do this.
Wasn't that just so fun
Oh my gosh,
hearing
it was so
about
much
all
fun.
of those novellas and all of their dogs? That was so fun.
It was wonderful. It was really wonderful. And I wanted to remind our group that this is actually the book we're reading this month for our book of the
Book
month.
club.
Yep, for our book club. So and look for and leave, we're gonna leave this contest open for a little bit. So leave a comment, ask a question, and you'll be entered to win. We're giving away a bunch of e-copies of the book. And that brings us to Wednesday. So we've Jennie and Diana and Abby and I decided that since tomorrow's Valentine's Day and everybody hopefully has plans, I actually don't, but that's okay. We're going to do, and the book comes out tomorrow. We're going to do a big release day party in the Isn't It Romantic Facebook group. Right, Jennie?
Yep. So on Wednesday, we'll do all the authors, the 7 authors that you just met will come in. We'll do some fun posts. There'll be giveaways. We're just planning to have a lot of fun, and it will go pretty much all day long. So you can pop in and out throughout the day whenever you get a chance, see what's going on, and there'll be giveaways, fun. Did I say fun? Did I say giveaways? Because I think really it's going to be fun, and there'll be some giveaways.
Yeah.
So, and it'll be all day Wednesday.
Yes, it'll be all day Wednesday. So please join us back then. And again, leave a comment if you're interested in winning a free copy of the ebook. But again, it also will be available in paperback. So we're very excited.
And if you read the book, please do come back and visit with us on our live stream for our February live stream.
Absolutely.
When we talk about it a little bit more.
It's at the end of the month. I should really know the date. It's the
I
last.
was hoping you knew the date, Sharon. I was hoping you were going to tell us the date. This is how our live streams go.
And we don't have Diana with us. So it's going to be on. Actually, I think it's going to be on the 23rd. It's next week.
Oh my.
It's an anthology, guys. They're short stories. It's easy to read.
Yes. And this book is just such a fun, quick read. Every story, I think you'll start reading every story, and then you'll get to the last page and be like, oh, I'm not ready for this to be the end. I'm not ready for this story to be over. So I know you're going to love every story. It has something wonderful and great characters and great dogs. And I just know you're going to love every single story.
Yeah. And they're all sweet, mostly sweet, except for Jennie. Well, she's sweet, clean.
Yeah.
I'm a clean. They're all super sweet. They're 99% clean. So they're perfect for balance.
Great.
No, Jen, I'm teasing Jennie, as you all know, which I love to do. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you. Oh, thank you, Barbara. That's so sweet. I really appreciate it. Barbara said she read mine. So no, we're looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday, and then next week for our live stream. Okay.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
Bye.